Hey everyone, my name's Pupsker and today we're gonna go over the top 5 primary weapons in Warframe. Now these are based off the 2020 stats, so naturally they're not quite up to date, but it's good enough. Let's be real here, it's February, we're fine, okay? So let's start off with the 5th weapon. That's right, the 5th most popular weapon is the Fullmen. I myself don't use this gun whatsoever. I have a very small variety of guns I use actively right now, and this is not one of them. If we take a look at the stats, we can clearly see it's a lot higher crit than status, so you definitely want to be building this boyo for crit and damage, right? Has built-in electricity, so not too bad. You can get some good elements off there if you need. The auto does less crit chance, more crit multiplier, but even less status and even less damage. I believe most people run this semi-auto, but I could be wrong on that because again, I don't use it a ton, so hey, maybe people use the auto a lot, so let me know how you use this gun because I'm honestly not quite too sure. You will just, again, want to build it up for high crit damage, and then just throw on whatever else damage mods you want, right? Throw on your multi-shot, throw on your prime damages, throw on whatever elements you may want. Really, it's up to you. This seems like a pretty easy to build gun. Like, let's be real here, the damage numbers aren't too bad, and it has electricity built in on it, so it has a lot of built-in functionality. Next weapon we have is the Rubico Prime. I believe the reason this is the 4th most popular weapon is because people use it as a primary like Eidolon damage source and boss damage source. It just does really good damage to boss type monsters, right? Again, my most familiar usage is with Eidolons. I know people use the Rubico Prime to hunt Eidolons a ton, but hey, maybe they probably also use it to kill like Tusk Thumper or like Exploiter Orb, shit like that, but it is a very high damage rifle, and it seems to be very popular by many. You look at the crit chance, it's goddamn insane with a 38% crit chance with a 3 times crit multiplier. With a 187 base damage, yeah, there is a reason people use this gun to hunt Eidolons, okay? It does ridiculous damage. So that's why people use it. It just simply does the damage. Fall off's not really too bad anyways, not like this really matters in Warframe, right? It's just the crit's so good with the damage, and god, snipers do a lot of damage, okay? So Rubico Prime, 10 out of 10. Okay, the third and probably my most favorite weapon out of the top 5 is the Exceltra. Beautiful weapon that pretty much just shoots explosive small AoE projectiles, and it has a really high crit chance, 32% crit chance, 2.8 times crit multiplier. The annoying part is the damage on this thing, base damage, it's just not that high, right? Like, as you can see, obviously, the numbers are pretty low all in all, but this is Warframe. You don't really need the highest base numbers for a strong, automatic, explosive rocket launcher. I have played a ton with the Exceltra in the past, and I've pretty much fully formatted it. I just need to get the ribbons set up, and you definitely don't even need ribbons, okay? It can do high-level content pretty easily, but I don't know if I would use this weapon if I'm doing Steel Path level content. You can definitely build it and it'll be good enough, don't worry if you're using a proper setup, but it's not the highest base damage. But it is still very good, so if you build it well, it'll reward you, because oh my god, that crit chance! All in all, yeah, I love it, okay? I can't simp for the Exceltra enough. It's just an automatic explosive rifle, okay? The status on it's absolute dog, so I just would kind of ignore that if you can. But other than that, it's really good. So I would definitely use this if I could, and hit MR8. I just made a video on where to farm it, a little short, so if you're curious, go check that out. Okay, and the second most popular weapon is the KuvaBrahma. God, this thing looks massive. I never realized how big it looked in a comparison to the Warframes. Like, look at that. Anyways, it requires MR15 because Kuva weapon really strong, has a very high requirement compared to a lot of other ones. Crit chance and status chance not too bad, but crit chance is ridiculously higher, and since it is an explosive bow, naturally it starts off with blast. The damage on it, I believe that's the same base damage as the Rubico Prime if I were to check back in my memory, but my mind never works, so as you can see, the damage is really high. Think of this one it's just a rocket launcher realistically. It's an explosive bow rocket launcher, right? So think of it as a single shot Exceltra, right? It just shoots one big fuck off explosive and blows everything up. When the KuvaBrahma first came out, I believe it was so ridiculously strong that anyone who got it was just so jazzed. And then, to my knowledge at least, they have since then nerfed it, and it is still all in all a good weapon. But when it was first released, I think the reason that it is so highly used was because when it was first released, everyone would use it for the longest time. It's probably still pretty popular because the damage is still really good on it, okay? It has no problems there, but it's just, I believe, less popular now. But hey, maybe it is actually second most popular, even in like the second half of the year after the nerfs and everything. But hey, what do I know? I'm just going based off the stats given to me by Digital Extremes. So second best weapon, KuvaBrahma. People love it, and honestly, it looks cool as hell. So 10 out of 10. Would also recommend. Okay, last but not least, the most popular weapon in Warframe is the Ignis motherfucking Wraith. I know, right? I didn't expect this myself, but I kind of get it. So the Ignis Wraith has a really long history behind it, surprisingly, as a weapon. It was first released in an event back in the day where only, I think, the top 10% of clans got the Ignis Wraith clan research for the blueprint. Since then, Digital Extremes has handled this weapon the worst possible way I've ever seen a company handle items. They, first off, only released it in that event, and then only going forward, those 10% of clans that got it, I think it was 10%, only they got the recipe, forever and always. Since then, we've had so many people try to scam other players selling the Ignis Wraith blueprint for 50 platinum. Been a big issue, so the community generally sells Ignis Wraith blueprints for free. They'll just give them to you for the most part. The weapon itself is really good. It shows up in Baroque tier here and there, but I would recommend not buying it with ducats when you can just ask a player to give you the blueprint, because hey, even I still have some that I can give out, so it's really not a huge issue. It's a very well-known weapon in the game, and the whole clan lock availability pisses off a lot of players, so they have no issues giving them out for free. So just ask around trade chat. You may not find one if you're on like Switch or PlayStation or some of the smaller consoles, but if you're on PC, you will have literally no issue. Or maybe the issue is on Switch, it can only be bought from Baroque tier, because they didn't have the event because the game didn't exist back then. Yeah, I think that's the actual reasoning, but it's a little derpy, okay? I'm bad with remembering all the small intricacies between the consoles and PC, since I myself, of course, am a PC player. So I would pick this up. It's literally just a flamethrower, right? That's all it does. Just heat damage right off the bat. You can just make it such a high damage elemental weapon that it is insane. So I would use this if you just want an easy, no effort killing weapon, because that's exactly what it is. I myself don't use it too often. Oh, it even shows a little flame right there. I didn't notice that in the past. Anyways, I've used this weapon in the past. I haven't used it too much because it's just too easy, right? It's just things in front of you just die. But if you use this weapon, I totally get it. It's a very good, strong, lazy weapon to use when you just want to run through the game. So Ignis Wraith, #1 primary weapon for at least 2020. And it makes sense. It's just kind of funny. So yeah, hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, remember to comment, like, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz, share this around. Anything really could help, because honestly, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm having fun making these top 5 videos. I still have to make secondaries and melees, so look out for that over the weekend. And thank you for being here. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.